Now, speaking of media, live sports has been media's saving grace, and it's expected to become even more valuable amid a dearth of scripted content this fall, thanks to those strikes. Now, sports is the glue holding traditional TV bundles together while also driving growth for streaming services who are paying up for sports rights, such as Amazon Prime Video's NFL games. Now, LionTree CEO and mega dealmaker Aryeh Berkoff has led blockbuster deals, including Warner Media's merger with Discovery and Amazon's purchase of MGM. I sat down with him to talk about the future of sports, media, and deal making. Take a listen.
Obviously, media has had a lot of cross currents and a lot of pressure of late, but sports is a bastion of hope, as is a lot of the creative industries right now, which I think is probably shifting back towards the positive side. But sports is event-driven content, and not only is it transactional in nature, but also character-driven, because you have must-see content in terms of the event, but also each player has its own brand. And so you have followings per player, and obviously own business models and media strategies per player, which I think opens up new business models that we've seen from the Mbappes of the world of late to even tennis players and women's sports coming up with a lot of tailwinds for the league and the sports franchises. So I think sports has a lot of tailwinds right now that continue all across the ecosystem.
But what about the fragmentation? Is it harder for sports fans to figure out what to watch where? We did see ratings on Amazon's Thursday Night Football decline, but at the same time, they got a much younger demographic, and they do expect ratings to increase in the second year of Thursday Night Football on Amazon. What does the fragmentation do to viewership, and how can the leagues and media companies and tech companies make sure they're managing that?
Well, everyone has a different strategy. I mean, Amazon is a holistic strategy where it's Prime, and there are transactional elements around the merchandising, and they need the sports content to really draw in the audience, and they are kind of getting there now. Packages on Black Friday coming up for the NFL. ESPN is a part of the traditional ecosystem, now trying to transition to direct-to-consumer and having to balance the cash flow model that they have with the existing ecosystem to now transitioning to the new direct-to-consumer model, and potentially needing a partnership strategy to do that with the leagues as well as the cable operators. But you also have YouTube, where they have an NFL strategy as well, and a merchandising model that's coming up along the way as well. But I think the key thing is having new content emerging that is getting a new audience, whether it's pickleball that we're talking about today, or women's sports rights, which is not new content, but really getting a more parity when it comes to media rights, not just women's soccer, but also the WNBA, and monetizing it at different levels. So I think there's room for repositioning the traditional ecosystems with new partnership behavior, the platform players in tech getting a whole vertical ecosystem in place, like Apple with MLS and so on, but also having the insurgent content having tailwinds across the whole ecosystem.
Now, I know you can't tell us about all the deals you're doing and all the deals you're working on, but I know you are invested in and working on the business of pickleball, which is certainly very popular right now. And also, you've done some of these media sports deals recently. Explain to us how important having both digital and traditional distribution is, and how you see the hybrid of that playing into the deals you're going to make in the future.
Well, people like to talk about the deals, and obviously there's a lot of competition for deal making and transactions, and we're just part of the ecosystem. But really what we look at is partnership behavior. How do you create aligned strategies for the long term that unlock value? And there are a lot of relationships that we've had, that you've had for a long time in this industry, and there's pressure right now because the ecosystem is contracted in certain areas like traditional media, and getting to the other side of this equation, whether it's because of what's going on in Hollywood with the writer's strike and in the competition for streaming, or in areas like platforms like ESPN, how do we unlock value? And so if there's not a merger per se because of regulatory activity or other things, there may be other asset sales to alleviate pressure, or partnership behavior to create long-term strategies that unlock value. And for us, it's just about being a part of the ecosystem, paying attention. We are part of a partnership ourselves when it comes to investing or doing business with other banks as well. So it's really just more of an aligned ecosystem now, because we're coming out of a period where there's been hyper fragmentation and people have to start working together again. And I'm more optimistic about what the outcomes will look like versus what it feels like today.